Welcome back to our coffee talk today. Thank you for joining us. I'm Keith. This is Terry. And we talk basically everything about retirement, basically any subject. And if you have a subject you want us to talk about, write it down in the comments and we'll talk about it. So today we're going to be talking about some of the best retirement advice from other retirees.
The first thing, advice from retirees, they said to know your lifestyle, because whatever your lifestyle is will depend on, number one, how much money you need to save. Because if you are the type that you don't go anywhere or do anything, you're not going to need as much money as someone who has a bucket list and wants to go out and travel and do things. So you need to know what your lifestyle is when you're figuring in how you want to retire. So that was one thing that retirees gave advice about.
Then a second topic that people said that kind of advice for retirees is, what are some of your goals? I mean, what are some of your bucket lists? What things is there that you really want to do in retirement?
Different people have different things.
Yeah.
I mean, some people, they don't want to do nothing in retirement. I just don't want to have to go to work. But then there's other people who go, you know what? I want to travel the world. I want to see Europe. I want to go places. And then there's other people that's like, well, we'll just go camping every weekend or whatever. So different people have different goals. Some people have big bucket lists and some don't have any. So know what goals you want to strive for in retirement, and that will help you in your retirement planning. A third advice from retirees was you need to have some purposeful activity, whether it's volunteering or doing something at your church or some organization. I mean, just to have something purposeful that you're working for. And some people, it might be their garden. This time of year, gardens are coming into harvest, and you're getting your stuff in and getting things canned. And so you need to have some sort of purposeful activity. This was some advice from retirees.
Another advice that retirees gave to other people is, don't compare yourself to other retirees.
Everybody's retirement looks different.
Yes.
Because everybody is different. Everybody wants different things from retirement. And if you look at a retired couple and they're literally traveling the world, flying here, flying there, and you're like,
why can't we do that?
Yeah, just don't compare yourselves to others. For one thing, it can be depressing. When you see people with maybe boatloads of money and you don't have boatloads of money, it can be mentally depressing. So that was a big piece of advice from retirees. Just don't compare yourself to other retirees. We're all different, just like in life. We all have different goals and different things. So
just be content to where you're at. Your lifestyle, your lifestyle, your goals. Just try to achieve, your goals and that meet your lifestyle, and retirement would be awesome.
Yes. Another piece of advice that retirees gave is live in the right location for you. Some people want to live in a city where they can walk to different places. Some people want to live out in the country where they can, have a garden or whatever. But it's important to know what your physical limitations are as well. You may need to live in a place that doesn't have any steps. If you live in a 3-story house and you're constantly going up and down steps all day, it may be wise to downsize to get a place that doesn't have steps. You don't think about these things when you're young. You don't think about how many flights of steps you have to climb. But those are things that we consider as we age. Think about what climate do you want to live in. If you want somewhere where it's hot, then you want to go to Florida. But if you don't really like hot summer weather, you'd want to live somewhere else in the summer. So those are just some things that you need to consider according to retirees.
Another thing to consider that people give advice to retirees that's been retired is, what are things to do where you live nearby you?
Yeah, because you don't want to live 20 miles from the nearest grocery store or 50 miles from the nearest Walmart. When you are aging, you want to be close to things. Now, you don't have to be right next door, but you need to be a reasonable distance from doctors, from because you make a lot of
The
trips to
hospital.
doctors, doctors and hospitals.
Yep.
Some people say they retire and instead of going to work, they go to doctors. And so that's why we need to keep our health.
Yeah.
But it is important that you look at not only the house that you're living in, no steps, but to look at the location.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a good place, a reasonable distance? You don't want to drive 100 miles to go to some kind of doctor.
No.
When maybe you can drive 10 miles. These are just things that retirees advised after they retired. This is some advice they gave.
Yeah. Things for you to consider before you retire.
Another thing that was advice given to retirees is retire close to family, friends. And I think it's really important that if you live, say, on the West Coast and all your family is on the East Coast, as you age, it's important that you live near. Now, you don't have to live next door or in the same house, but live near your family and friends, because there will come a time when you might need help and you have nobody. This is advice that retirees gave that they found out. I know my sister lived in Maine. Well, her son lived in New York and her daughter lived in Houston. So when they decided to move, they knew it was going to be by one of their children, because, as they're aging, as they're getting older, they wanted to be near one of their children and their grandchildren. So because New York has a boatload of snow and cold weather every year, they opted for warmer weather in Houston.
Smart choice.
Yes. So it's just important that we have. I know my mother's 90 and she has me and my sister. We live near where if she needs help, we can help her. And this is retirees' advice. You really need to be close to family and friends.
Yeah. Friends are important. I know when you retire, you're going to be meeting new friends. And, for us, even on, with our YouTube channel, we're meeting, friends that we follow on YouTube, like Steve's Retirement Corner. We enjoy just sitting on our couch sometimes. It's like, he's a friend. We enjoy, what he has to say and listening to him. And then also, we feel like Buzz, from Buzz Retirement Garage. Like we know him so well, even though we never met him or anything, just by, enjoying Saturday after, at 7 o'clock, and we keep on saying, okay, Buzz is on, let's turn him on. He's kind of like the old Bonanza show. My mom would always say, we got to watch Bonanza. We got to listen to Buzz. And, we're meeting, like traveling through. Also, we enjoy listening to them. And just, these are friends, even though we met a couple of them, but, it's important to have friends that you look forward to seeing. And YouTube is a great way to develop friends and see friends, even if it's online. And it's just that social part of life.
And I tell you, it's crazy how you develop a community and you feel like you know people that you've never met.
Yeah.
I follow several channels and I feel like I know them and like we have a connection.
Yeah, we do.
And yet we've never met in real life. So it's important that you have a community, not only for your social well-being, but then living near family can help you out as well.
Yes.
The last piece of advice from retirees is that our priorities seem to change as we age. We have to prioritize more health because we see ourselves
Yeah.
like declining, and it's like, ooh, I don't
It's
like
not a
it.
pretty picture sometimes.
And so your priorities change.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for us, one of our big priorities is our grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we want to spend as much time with them as we can. Our granddaughter is 10, she'll be 11 in January, going on 15.
Yeah.
And our grandson will soon be 8. And it's like, where did
Yeah.
those years go? And even though we see them a lot, it's just flying by. And that's one of our
Yeah.
priorities, is to be a positive influence in our grandchildren's life. And so it is crazy how your priorities change as you age.
Yeah, we want to take advantage of these next, hopefully 5 years of being able to see them regularly, and just, participating with them growing up. As we know, probably within the next 5 years, their priorities are going to change, where they may not want to see Grammy and Pappy as often, and they'll have their own life. And so we want to take a good, advantage of these next 3 to 5 years to do as much as we can with them.
So we just wanted to share these tips of advice from retirees. Maybe you're considering retiring. Maybe you're getting close to retirement. Maybe you're in retirement. But these are all just some things to consider and to think about. And we really appreciate you guys watching our coffee talks. We love doing them.
And if you got some retirement advice, many of you have been retired for several years and probably can say, man, you missed, this point, you need advice you need to give them. Write them down in the comments. Tell us what other suggestions that retirees or those about getting ready to retire, some of the regrets or things that they need to think about.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time on Retired and Loving It. If you would like to see more of our videos, click the video that just popped up on your screen